I'm not against the idea of Rocks being alive, but at the same time, as long as Oda makes it make sense, I'm totally fine with it. But the idea of Rocks, or even, the old theories about Roger being alive and all these theories, I have a problem with it. And it's not even about the characters themselves, but the idea of bringing Rocks and Roger and these characters back into the One Piece world, into our current world, which, let's be honest, Luffy is the main part of this generation, okay? Because he's the main guy who's gonna finally take down the tyranny of Imusama and to finally destroy the world government, all this stuff, all the prophecy stuff about the Joy Boy and all that stuff, okay? So the idea of Rocks is no ordinary man, because he's the first guy to ever dare to take down Imusama's throne since probably Davy Jones. And the idea of Rocks entering the flower room of Imusama and challenger, and not only challenging Imusama, but basically announcing or declaring war against Imusama without Imusama even doing a single thing. I'm not gonna say Imusama being afraid, but probably, let's say, because their powers are so similar or so close, so the consequences of Imusama fighting Rocks at that time will be much greater than the benefits, let's say. And that is how, in my opinion, Imu let Rocks. I'm not gonna say Imu was able to kill Rocks at that time, and I'm not gonna say Rocks was able to kill Imu, but I do believe that it might take so many days, like the Akaino and Aokiji fight, so the consequences of the fight, especially the fact that it was happening in Rijwa, which is Imusama's throne, Imusama's place, Imusama's kingdom, so the consequences of this fight happening is not good for Imu, okay? So based on the theories and the ideas that I've been talking about in so many videos like previously, Imusama tricked and trapped Rocks into going to God Valley, whether to kill him, to trap him, to freeze him, I don't know, okay? But the idea of Rocks being alive, it is still alive, okay? No pun intended, okay? But when you think about it, Sengoku said that Rocks is dead. So that's based on how the Marines, let's say, or the old gen guys believe, okay, that Rocks is dead. And that's what Imusama probably wants all these people to think of, okay? Imusama do not want people to think that Rocks is still alive, because he's a bigger threat than anybody to ever live, like, after the 800 years ago, okay? After the Joy Boy and Davy Jones, okay? I mean, who knows, maybe Davy Jones is Joy Boy, but whatever, okay? So, Rocks is the biggest threat Imusama has ever had since Davy Jones and Joy Boy. So the idea of Imusama freezing Rocks, and if it's possible, Imusama would never tell anybody that Rocks is still alive and frozen somewhere else. Because why am I even saying the fact that Rocks might be alive because of Imusama freezing him and it is not possible, all that stuff? I mean, we just got some lore piece, some information about Galila, the Giants and all these guys, so it makes sense about the freezing and all that stuff that Rocks might be alive. Okay, look, I'm not telling you that I'm with the idea of Rocks being alive, and at the same time, I'm not against it, because as long as Oda makes it make sense, I'm fine with it. But when you think about it, like, in general, I'm not with the idea of bringing any of the old gen, like, characters back, because they're so powerful and they're so OP that there's no way you're bringing them back to the story without struggling into finding the way on how to make them not have that much effect, because you want all these spotlights to be with, I don't know, Luffy, Dragon, all the, let's say, the new gen, not the new gen, the current gen characters, like the Luffys, the Dragons, the Akainos, the Blackbeards, all these characters, okay? So the idea of bringing Rocks back, he's gonna steal all the spotlights, man. Unless he's gonna be a body fighting with Imu, I don't see Rocks ever being, how to put this in the correct way, because if he's back on Blackbeard's side, it is gonna be a struggle on how to even defeat Blackbeard, But the idea of Rocks being, I don't know, the three part of Blackbeard's body, like the theories that says Blackbeard, Rocks, and Davy Jones, I'm not fully against that idea, okay? But I'm not with that idea, So the idea of Rocks being in Blackbeard's body, if it happens, okay, look, it depends on the scenario and the way Oda puts it, okay? And on the way Oda convince you on how the idea of Blackbeard having these, like, I don't know, souls, if it makes sense. So I'm not gonna, okay, let's leave it here. I'm not gonna talk about the idea of Blackbeard and his bodies, okay, or his souls. Let's put this aside for a second. That is my problem with bringing Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, any of the old gen guys, because when you think about it, Oda made sure that Whitebeard is dead so he paves the way to the new gen characters, you know. So imagine Whitebeard still being alive. It would not be as easy as it is right now for the new gen, you know, because I don't think it is possible, like, unless you're Luffy and nobody else, you're not gonna reach the level of Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Garb, these characters. I can't see it, because you're not gonna tell, like, do you remember the theories or the ideas that people were saying that Luffy is Roger and Law is Whitebeard and a kid was who? I don't know. Rox? Was it Rox? I don't know. It was stupid. Like, bro, Law, there's no way Law is gonna be Whitebeard, bro. And there's not a single chance in hell, bro, kid is being Rox or whatever, bro. I mean, come on, right? So it is stupid, because unless you're Luffy, you're not gonna be as strong and as impactful as these old gen characters. So bringing one of the old gen characters in the current time of One Piece is gonna be a struggle for Oda. Like, I know Oda is no ordinary writer. I know he's special. I know he's a genius. And I know he plans some of this stuff like way back. So I know when it comes to Rox, he already planned everything in the story and the journey of Rox being like 56 years ago, and even before that. Like, the whole journey of Rox has been planned from Oda for ages. I'm pretty sure of that, okay? I know I can trust Oda on some of the stuff. Like, when it comes to the important characters, I know I can trust Oda on it, okay? So the only theory that might be making sense at that time is that Imusama somehow took Rox's body without killing him in God Valley. Like, she trapped him, or he, I don't know, Imusama trapped Rox the Xebec in God Valley, and she took his body without killing him, and she froze him once and for all, just like what happened with Galila. And like, at the same time, we've seen Rox Pirates talking about the idea of Galila might still being alive, but at the same time, how can you convince them to join forces with you? So the idea of Galila being frozen and still being alive, it is possible. So how about Rox? I mean, come on, bro. I'm pretty sure Rox can destroy all these hundreds of Galila giants or whatever, okay? So Rox is no ordinary man. He's the most powerful man to ever exist, probably in One Piece since, I don't know, Davy Jones, Joy Boy, these characters. So the only thing that makes sense in my opinion is that Rox being, I don't want to even say it, but being a body for Imusama in the final battle, final war with Imusama and all her like alliances versus or against Luffy, Dragon, and their alliances, okay? That is probably the only theory that makes sense, and I could be like approving, if that makes sense, you know? So that is it. Write in the comments what you guys believe. I know this is a controversial topic, because every time we talk about Rox, so many people are so against the idea of Rox being alive, and I totally get it. I totally get it, because why would you bring probably like one of the greatest characters to ever and one of the most powerful characters in One Piece, to bring him back? It's gonna be a struggle, like, you know, writing, it's gonna be a struggle, you know? So write in the comments what do you guys think. Are you like against the idea in general, or you could be like open to some of the ideas and stuff if Oda actually makes it make sense, you know, if that makes sense, okay? So yeah, write in the comments what you guys believe. Please like this video, do all these supporting stuff, because my channel been growing like crazy lately, and I'm so gonna keep going. The momentum will never stop, the grind will never stop. Thank you guys for watching. Mwah.